Now the second part of this ninth session is about conversation with our very dear friend Helmut Von Struve. He is the Managing Director, Middle East for Siemens. Earlier he served as the Managing Director for Pakistan, Siemens for around 5 years. And he supported us in all our 3 previous editions of Leaders in Islamabad. The global SEVPs and EVPs of Siemens participated physically in last 3 editions, and this time we hosted yesterday the Siemens Managing Director for Pakistan, the new MD of Pakistan, Marcus, and today we are hosting Helmut, who is based now in Dubai. And for this conversation we specially engaged Syed Veqar. He is the CEO and Director of Jaffer Business Systems, one of the outstanding speakers in Pakistan. He earlier served as the Country Director for Nokia Siemens Network, also the SVP Siemens Nokia Network for Middle East, Africa, and he also served as the Managing Director of NCR Pakistan. So over to you, Veqar and Helmut, and the topic is very different. This is all about Expo 2020 in Dubai, and few features around Expo 2020 and business-related activities. So this is a very important subject for the global community as well as the business delegates. Over to you, Veqar and Helmut.
Hello, everyone out there. Thank you very much for joining this leadership conference. We come across people who are truly global citizens, if you like, and they have a much more worldly view of things because they have been at various stations, they have worked in various locations, they're very intimate to diversity and how it contributes to the growth of institutions. So we have someone with us who's not just a global citizen, but also spent time in Pakistan. And I think the discussion we are going to have, which will be around Expo 2020 and a few other things that we'll discuss, will enable our viewers in a manner that they will understand how someone with good understanding of emerging markets is destined to make an impact in a bigger region that he is today. So ladies and gentlemen, today we have Helmut Von Struve with us, who is the Chief Executive for Siemens Middle East. A very warm welcome, Helmut. Thank you very much for joining us. And good to see you in Qatar, not in Pakistan anymore.
Yeah, thank you very much. Veqar, I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Very well.
Thank you very much, Veqar. It has been actually quite long since I was able to see the colleagues and partners and also the close friends in Pakistan. And I am really looking forward to visiting again soon in person. So, but today for me is not only a pleasure, but especially a big honor to be able to again contribute to ASFA's Nutshells Leaders in Islamabad Business Summit, and to be able to address all of you and the esteemed audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to interact with you, and I'm sure now with a much broader horizon, we'll have some interesting insight and audience would love it. So Helmut, let me just start off by connecting the dots from your Pakistan time and where you are today and what you are doing. Interestingly, we are in COVID for the last 18 to 20 months, which has changed the way things were being done or are being done and will continue to shape the future in possibly ways that we have not thought about, say, 18 to 20 months ago. So I want to understand in your new role as CEO of Middle East, and also with the time that you spent in Pakistan, how do you see region, workplace, and technologies evolving to cater for possibly a very exciting future?
Yeah, thank you. That is obviously a very, very important topic for us. And let me focus on the one thing that for us at Siemens right now is a really, really rare opportunity to focus and address the topic of infrastructure. We see that the world currently is at the point of inflection. We have individuals, companies, but also governments that are posing important questions about sustainable development. And there is a special sense of urgency for change. And we see this, and then you speak about Pakistan, we see this in Pakistan, we see this across the Middle East. And this urgency for change is not just about climate change. It's about radical electrification, it's about urbanization, and it's about the need to feel safe in, for example, buildings post-COVID-19. And for all of this, digitalization is a key enabler. The good news is that the governments around the world, and also here in the region specifically, are taking steps for serious green investments and plans to build back better. Smart infrastructure is for us and also for all the stakeholders a crucial part of a sustainable energy transition and creating sustainable communities. Energy transition is a major driver of change. We not only need smarter technology to move to a decentralized and decarbonized ecosystems, we also need energy sources, and we see this right now, that are going from around 80% fossil fuels today to hopefully, and are predicted, more than 80% renewables share in the future. We are seeing this, and we are moving to an all-electric world. Think about the growing demand for electric cars. And you see this, as I said, about not only globally in Europe, but you see this in Pakistan. You see this here in the Middle East, and which are countries which have predominantly been petrol heads. And those changes are coming. We see this not only in passenger cars, we see this in buses. We see streaming coming up and digitalization. And this results in a magnificent boom in data centers, for example. This all will lead to a significant increase of electricity demand by more than 20%, which is expected to happen in the next decade. And those changes, so all the different utilizations of energy coming in, are pushing our aging grids to their limits. Storms, floods, droughts, wildfires, they make the need for a change even more urgent. And this is something that, for example, Pakistan, we have seen the effects that were taking Pakistan, and the solutions are available. For example, during last year's wildfires, and then take now example from the US in California, there's a community called Blue Lake Rancheria, which were actually able to provide life-saving medical care and shelter to neighboring districts that were significantly hit by blackouts because Blue Lake Rancheria has invested in a microgrid. And of course, it came from Siemens, and that helped them to remain independent. And it goes beyond energy. The second driver is the desire to create sustainable communities and the best places for us to live and to work. Buildings account for more than 40% of the global energy demand. And believe it or not, but out of this 40%, 1/3 of that is purely wasted. And that creates a huge opportunity, and also on the other hand, a big responsibility for us. And it's much more than just pure energy efficiency. It's how we also want adaptive buildings to become smart. And then, we all experienced it in one way or the other, that COVID has changed the way how we think of the indoors. It's not only being a haven, we worry about air quality and also social distancing. Human-centric smart buildings, they will make us much more comfortable, safe, and secure. And in the decentralized energy ecosystems, buildings and grids are interacting. So this is all about smart infrastructure, and this is what we are ready not only to deploy and deliver in Pakistan, but this is what we do here in the Middle East and across the whole world.
This is great because I think you've kind of summed up how possibly the future is going to change or is changing and will transform as we move ahead. You talked about 20% increase in electricity demand, given that the world is moving towards electric car and many other changes which will happen. You talked about smart infrastructure, which is coming possibly much faster than what many of us can think. So let me just move towards the practical application of talking about smart, sustainable, efficient, and safe infrastructure. You think there are projects happening within the region, which more or less fits the bill that we are talking about here? If yes, what are the use cases they are addressing? So it would be good to get practical views from you as to what's happening in the region, that you are representing, which is quite large, and it is at the midst of all the changes that you're talking about. So, Helmut?
Yeah, thank you, Veqar. It's actually a very, very important question. And one of the global trends that we see is urbanization. And urbanization, where more and more people are living in rural, in city areas, throws up a multitude of challenges. For example, and we have them here in the Middle East, how the mega cities of tomorrow can ensure that essential services such as clean water and adequate waste removal is ensured. How can those mega cities create smart and human-centric buildings which make the people that are living there comfortable, safe, and also secure? And how can transportation systems be established and built, and buildings that cause less pollution even as the populations are growing? So the part of the solution is actually to imagine the city of the future, and not only imagine it, but also especially build it. And you mentioned it right at the beginning, Expo 2020. And here at Expo 2020 Dubai, which is starting on this October 1st, we have had the rare opportunity to really partner with the organizers and exactly do just that. It's not really just an exaggeration to call this Expo an historic achievement, not least for what it represents in the quest and in the aim to build smart cities. It's going to be the first mega event that happens after the pandemic. The sheer size of Expo, itself, the size of Expo is twice the size of Monaco. It has more than 130 digitally connected buildings and spreads of over more than 5.4 square kilometers in a complete new and purpose-built district in the city of Dubai. We as Siemens have been working for more than 4 years now together with the partners at Expo to showcase for the many ways in which smart cities and also districts can benefit humanity, and also then our more and more increasingly crowded planet. Siemens, we are very proud that we are the premier partner for infrastructure digitalization for Expo 2020 Dubai. And with this, we are delivering technologies to actually create a blueprint for future smart cities. When you look at it at Expo, Siemens is really live demonstrating how buildings, machines, facilities can be digitally connected and enable a site to optimize its operations. On the one hand, conserve water and energy, but also reduce emissions. And all this by making sure that the visitors are staying safe and comfortable. One of our most important tasks from the beginning was to select a technology that would actually not only help Expo to be successful during the time it is showing, which is the 6 months from October till March next year, but also tend to live on in its legacy as a nucleus of a so-called new area in Dubai. It's called the Dubai District 2020.
Well, this is great. So, typically when we think of Siemens, of course, many things come to mind, and Siemens is a global leader in many of the areas that it operates. But being a close part of an event as big as Expo 2020 is not something that you typically associate Siemens with. Why do you think the organizers chose you as one of the premium partner? And we'll come to some of the other things that you're doing, but I just want to understand, what was the key factors that Expo chose you to be a premium partner?
Yeah, that's really a clear point. Why Siemens? But when it comes towards creating smart urban environments, the answer, at least to us, is pretty clear. It's Siemens. We have a unique advantage that we are experts in both hardware but also software. I mean, remember when in the times when we met in Pakistan, we spoke about IoT, but I also mentioned to you that we understand and we live IoT, and we have more than 25,000 software engineers worldwide that are working on it. We are the experts in automation, in digitalization, and as well as in electrification. And with this, we are really a one-stop shop for smart infrastructure and Internet of Things. And it's everything that we do is actually underpinned by the relevant data. And data for us is the foundation. Not for us. I mean, it's a fact. It's the foundation. Any effort to help transform a city or a district or a campus into something smart. Yeah. So it's you see, this is a massive amount of data that's being collected, and what we want to do is collecting the data, but also make use of it. And for this, we need to bring it together. And for this, we need an IoT platform that actually allows us and allows you as the operator to analyze, contextualize, and also make visualize those data points that are coming in, and then enable you to get and take out of it actionable insights. And this is exactly what we have done at Expo and what we have proven to be able to do. We have seen this at Expo, and I think that is something that we also can have a look at.
Great. So you're at least one person who would have voted for you if he was in the committee, so well done. But I just want to understand, what is actually Siemens' role in the entire Expo 2020? What are you doing? What will you be displaying? How you think it will take us into the future, or people who will be coming there? So what exactly is the role that you are performing there?
Yeah, Veqar, it's together with our partners at Expo 2020, have selected technologies in the areas of safety and security, quality of life, sustainability, but also resilience. These are all key requirements for city swellers of today and of tomorrow. They also fit nicely with Expo's three themes. The one is sustainability, mobility, and opportunity. And let me give you an example in the area of safety and security. We are installing Surveillance Control Pro, which is helping us and which is connecting 15,000 cameras and providing critical data to more than 150 site managers and operators. At the same time, our CPAS, our Integrated Access Control System, connects more than 5,500 doors. All of this is to keep the visitors and also operators safe during this specific 6 months event. But we also want to create a comfortable experience within the site buildings. And here we are having access to more than 210,000 data points and are connecting more than 21 subsystems. When you talk about sustainability, in this area we have our Siemens Navigator, which is actually powered by Siemens MindSphere, and it monitors and controls building performance at more than 130 units. And by doing this, we'll actually help Expo make progress to really achieve its sustainability target. And when I talk about MindSphere is Expo's, because it's something like the central nervous system that connects both the physical as well as the digital world. And it is our cloud-based open IoT operating system that allows you to collect, analyze, contextualize, and also visualize data. And it has the ability to develop and run AI applications. And MindSphere, as deployed at Expo, allows multiple stakeholders, not only Siemens, multiple stakeholders to monitor control functions such as heating, ventilation, air conditioning, water, lighting, safety, electricity, smart sensors, chiller plants, you name it, UPS systems, and others.
So that's really fascinating. So which means that if anyone who is visiting Expo 2020, will all of it be displayed, integrated, showing the use cases and the results? Or, there will be some elements missing. So what should we expect to see from a technology deployment viewpoint during the visit to Expo 2020?
Well, visit Expo 2020, you will be amazed of what you see. But for us, and when it comes towards our technology, this is the toughest part of our business, because the technology that we have deployed is actually hidden, and it's used by operators and the facility managers. But we do have, because I was also asking, so where's all the things that we have installed? And that's an area that you actually want to show, and therefore we have some areas where we can demonstrate it to those parties that are interested. And we even have an app, but not the one that you might be used to. It's called the MindSphere Smart City app, and it shows an accurate digital twin of the whole Expo site. And we created the app expressively for Expo site operators and the management teams, not necessarily for individuals like myself and you and others. It's a web-based application, and it works with predefined thresholds, for example, for water and energy consumption, and also noise levels. And it's the interface that allows app users to make decisions better based on data. And app users are gaining operational insights. They have a full transparency. They get situational awareness of, for example, alarms or events and notifications for the entire site. They also can look at historical trend data, go deep into analysis, and also then have benchmarks featuring for easy, acceptable future use. And we can also feed this then obviously into bigger screens so that we can show this and explain this to a broader audience, also for them to understand what is happening.
Yeah, great. You talked about data and collecting data, analyzing data, sifting it through, and then making decisions. But based on the data that you will be collecting, based on the work that is being done in Expo 2020 or otherwise, can you define some use cases which are based on the work that is happening with all the data that is being collected, so that audience can relate to real life use cases to whatever is being done, and that data that is being collected will actually be put to good use from a decision making viewpoint and making planet safer, sustainable, and smart?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the use cases, for example, is water management, which entails monitoring and controlling of water usage, which includes the irrigation system, but also then leak detection. Another one is ecology and landscaping. Data about plants, herbicides, pesticides, and also fertilizers are captured on MindSphere, which then makes them transparent for the operators to act upon if it is necessary. For example, if you look at buildings and utilities, MindSphere will monitor the electricity consumption and also the noise levels, as well as lighting and carbon emissions. And one of the elements which is really critical for city operations is environmental monitoring and air quality. And that is not only outdoors air quality, but also indoors air quality, noise levels, again, wind speeds, that all can be measured with IoT sensors. And there we can set the thresholds. And then the monitoring team, the environmental monitoring team, will be receiving alerts either via emails or via text messages of potential breaches, which then allows them to make faster and also better decisions. Essentially, with this technology, cities really can become safer, more efficient, and sustainable, and it will help us really curbing emissions and other waste.
Excellent, and some of these use cases are brilliant, and as we go along and their usage becomes that much more prevalent, we will start to move towards, as you said, a safer, sustainable, smart cities concept. And it's so good to hear that in Expo 2020, Siemens is taking a lead in displaying some of these technologies. Let me come to the last part of the conversation, and this is related to a typical critique that happens to an event such as Expo 2020, that these are good showcases, they such events never make money or rarely make money. But at the same time, when it all finishes, it's a lot of debris, a lot of destroyed infrastructure, a lot of ruins, if you like, and then people forget and move on. Is this what we expect from a smartly built Expo 2020, as we've seen in the past, or will it be something different? So what's your take on this?
It's a very good point. I mean, and I have to say that we definitely don't think so. And that's not just because we were part of the project. Expo is actually designed to last and have a legacy, a positive legacy. About 80% of the site's infrastructure will remain after the event is over, and will be part of the core future of the Dubai's future planned District 2020. And a smart city never stops evolving, and Siemens will be continuing to be part of this journey. Because it's easy to say, they will do something in the future, but also we have our commitment, and our commitment is that we will move our Dubai headquarters to the District 2020 once Expo itself is finished. So we will also then benefit from the technology at the site for decades to come.
I know this is very interesting that you are actually turning an expo into more or less where you will be housed in the future, and this way not just the technology which are currently going to be on display will be put to use, but will also be used to showcase how you move into the future. Based on the work, and as you explained in detail about Expo 2020, and it is a blueprint for smart cities, if you can help me and the audience understand how the future cities will look like. Just your own vision of how a future smart city will look like.
Yeah, no, you mentioned Expo as the blueprint for future smart cities. I would rather rephrase it into it's a blueprint. And there are many opportunities to expand the vision. Also many lessons learned over the course of the event, and that also over the course of the development towards the event, that will help us to implement and also conceive future smart cities. And we as Siemens, we are looking at other plans in the region for new districts or cities, as well as further uses at Expo itself. And these additional solutions could range from fire safety to intelligent traffic systems, to also autonomous shuttle infrastructure.
Excellent. So, if I may ask a couple of questions just at the end. It is. I mean, everyone is talking about smart cities. It is a vision. It is a dream. When do you see it becoming reality? What sort of horizon do you think is there that we'll start to see evolution of smart cities in various parts of the world? And would be great to also hear Siemens' future plan to link with it.
Look, I mean, that's why I said in Expo you already start deploying it. And we see this in many other areas where we see technology actually already being deployed. We see test cases happening. And that's why I'm so specifically proud of what has been achieved at Expo, because it's the first time that in this scale we deploy our technologies, and especially also the IoT MindSphere platform that has been developed together. And for sure, when you look at the developments that are being discussed currently here in the region, but also on a global scale, this is something that it's happening. During Expo, one of the big, it's Expo, it's the World Expo. So what we see is from the participating countries, there will be many visitors coming, informing themselves about the trends that are happening, informing themselves about technologies that are ready to be deployed. And this is something which we, of course, as Siemens are very much engaged with. And this is one of the main pillars of our future strategy.
Great. So we've come to the end, Helmut, and if I may ask you to give any parting comments on not just Expo 2020 and Siemens, but also how you see technology world and infrastructure world evolving from here to the next level. Just some parting comments summarizing our discussion.
Yeah, Veqar, again for really great discussion that we had. I remember when we had already a number of engagements together, and then it was always for me also something that I took back and then was working on developing further. Technology is a backbone of future development to make sustainability happening, and energy efficiency, reducing waste. I mean, and we have seen this over now the last 1.5 months. Look at what has technology enabled us in the area of the pandemic. It was unheard of that we have meetings that are taking place virtually without the need of going across countries. And as much as I'm now enjoying again traveling, it still is something that will not be taken away. And it will help us reducing additional waste by reducing some of those meetings that we might be able to do in a virtual environment. But also the focus on security, the focus on industrialization, reindustrialization in some areas. Those are areas that I believe firmly will continue to grow and will play a major important role here in the region, in Pakistan, and in other places across the world. So I'm very much optimistic, and I'm very much looking forward, and I'm actually looking forward to see you again in person, either hopefully at the Expo or then again in Pakistan.
We'll definitely meet at the Expo, and thank you very much, Helmut, for sparing time. It was great talking to you after a while, but also it's so amazing and energizing to hear someone talk about how technology is shaping the world and how future will actually look like. Pandemic, as we all know, has accelerated the pace of change. And what we could not imagine 20 months ago is actually a reality, and these virtual conferences are just one of them, but the numbers and the changes that have happened are dramatic. The other thing you talked about is about the concept of smart cities becoming reality, and people will see more and more development. And as you rightly said, smart cities and evolution, it will never be constant. So what we think today is smart, tomorrow may not be that smart, and something smarter will come up. So not just me, but I'm sure audience is looking forward to seeing some of these technologies in action, seeing some of the use cases in action, taking benefit from them, coming back and taking all our workplaces, communities, thinking process towards a smarter, sustainable, safe future. So once again, thank you so very much. Really appreciate your time. Great talking to you again, and look forward to seeing you either in Dubai or in Pakistan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helmut, and thank you, my very dear friend Veqar, for a wonderful session and insights about the Expo 2020 and related activities.